The world of the internet.
It can get a bit much sometimes.
I don't die.
Pretty much, yeah.
Welcome to
Move Over Mother Teresa.
What is my purpose? What am I gonna contribute to the world?
Interviews with creators who
Show the world
give
vulnerability and masculinity.
Encourage consciousness.
Can I swear?
Close all of your other tabs and turn up the volume. Trust me, this is Move Over Mother Teresa. My name is Mira Kumar, and today's episode is co-hosted by John M. Sweeney and Tom Cledwin. The guest for today, this is not daddy issues speaking. This is an objective statement that you will all agree with. If you don't know him already, by the end of this episode, trust me, you are going to be saying the same thing. He is the greatest male role model we could possibly ask for. He is the male role model we all deserve. His name is Ryan Lloyd Haynes, and today he wants to tell you about how to find purpose and how he went from being a fashion mogul to creating the antithesis of red pill content online.
I don't die.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hello, I'm Lloyd Haynes. The grand scheme of things, and I tell him his job does not dictate his worth, but what does matter is knowing himself. If it was my job, I'd tell him no one cares about how fast the metal box he drives moves across the compressed stone, and I'd tell him to work out, absolutely. Or phones or tunes, just sitting in our own thoughts, and we stay open to what might be. Scary, I know. But just know this, if someone is absolutely killing it to you, most likely they're out of balance in another aspect.
How would you introduce yourself? And give us two answers here. Give us the pitch, and then give us
The sexy version.
the sexy version.
What's which?
The second one is
You
shut
could
off.
say
I mean, I'm not against it.
I'm sorry, Daisy.
Okay, then 3 votes.
Kind of a podcast.
It's over, I'm
is
leaving. Ryan Lloyd Haynes. That's my full name, full legal name. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm going to go for an advocate of vulnerability. That's going to be my new pitch.
Ooh.
Don't know to whom. Advocate for vulnerability and honesty, I think. The other version is someone who's trying to figure it out and tell the story along the way, I think. The more I've found I tell my truth and everything that's happened in my life to the fullest honourable version that I possibly can, I get people talking to me about their own things going on and being more honest, which I've really enjoyed and really found purpose in. And I'm not sure I love that word, but that's where we're at.
I'd love to, at some stage later, we're gonna talk about the word purpose, because you've got an interesting view on it. So we also should be clear, like, we know you. We have known you for more than these few minutes. So John, Mira, and myself, as a sort of day job, side hustle, whatever it is, run this social experiment, Drop Dead Generous. And you were one of our early grantees. So we're giving 1,000 people $500 to pay it forward, and you were one of our early grantees. And then you've since become a cat, which means you're helping us give away the money on our behalf.
I actually don't know how you guys, or I've kind of heard the story of how you guys met Ryan, because I met you through these two in an airport lounge on the way to Austin. That's how we got introed. So what's the story there?
My girlfriend works with sort of companies advocating for building community, and community is your currency. She's got a book out, Daisy Morris. I said to Daisy, you should meet these guys. They're doing cool stuff, and I thought you could kind of work with them. And then I was like, but I want to work with them as well. It just sounds cool. So I didn't DM Daisy. I could text her because I know her. But Daisy messaged these guys, and then she set up a call with you guys, didn't she? And I had messaged you in the meantime saying, I think I want to work with you guys. I love what you're doing. And then we had a call together, but Daisy couldn't make it because she was stuck in work. And then we had a call, and I was just like, this is incredible what you're doing. And it came in a perfect time for me, because I was feeling a sense of, why isn't anyone doing anything for anyone? We've become so self-absorbed after COVID, and I thought it'd be the exact opposite to that. So I've been feeling a bit lost myself in a sense of dread of, we need to do more for other people. And then you guys popped up, and I was just like, this is it. This is exactly what I'd like to do. in some capacity.
Thinking back to that, so that was November last year, November 2024.
Yeah.
And actually, I shouldn't project this, so I'm maybe making an assumption, but it feels like that rough date marks a very different sort of beginning and end for like the Ryan that was operating life for 10 years before that, and the stuff you've done since then in what sort of 10 months since then. But where were you at that point, November last year?
So the end of last year, me and my sisters decided to park our company, which is a women's fashion company called Elsie and Fred. It had been sort of dwindling for quite a long time after the back of, we survived COVID and we survived Brexit and we sort of survived cost of living, but it was just the figures were going down and down, and our debts were going up and up, and it was just the time where we thought we could go on with this if we have the engine to sustain it, but we didn't. So we just like, we'll park it for a bit, see how we feel outside of this company, and then work on what's next. And I think it's probably parked for good, but in that period of time it's just like, what the hell am I going to do next? Grieved quite a lot for quite a long time, because I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be my life, and I thought this was going to be the unicorn business that I envisioned 10 years ago. And so I attributed quite a lot of my personality and my being to that company. And so when that didn't work or that failed, then that was my mood, and got quite depressed, quite anxious. And so I was coming off the back of that probably August, September.
And when you say grieving, so you were grieving that loss of identity because you'd attached it to the business.
100%. 100%. When you put yourself out there and tell somebody it's going to be something and that's what it is, and then they see it isn't working, and people could just go on your HMRC accounts and see that it's not working, it just feels so exposing. And I implore everyone to try something and do something that scary and build a business if you want to build a business. But you're not told about those things when you do start that business, and nothing can prepare you for that, the public failure. And everyone I speak to will say it's not a failure, it's 10 years. Of course, I know these things, and you know these things when you relay them to other people, but you still feel it, like your friends and your people in school and all those people that see it growing it and supporting it. And then there were so many unfair things in inverted commas that happened, but it's coming from such a privileged point of view that it's just like, no one owes you anything. So those things that are unfair, it's life, isn't it?
I think for people who haven't started a business, though, it might be hard to imagine feeling that attached to something and then associating your identity so hard with that thing. I think it would be useful for you to talk about, who you named it after, how old you were when you started it. Like, take us right back to then, and then take us on the journey with you, because there's a lot of emotion, family, wrapped up.
That's maybe a mistake to do that. No, we named it after my grandparents. So like I said, I started it with my two older sisters. Elsie and Fred were my nan and granddad. We actually told my nan that it was called Elsie and Fred, and she said, "Why'd you call it a stupid name like that for?" Should have called it Victoria. It's like, I don't think Victoria and Fred would have the same ring to it, but yeah. So it started. My sister had a clothes shop in Coventry many moons ago. It was her dream actually to open it when she was like 23. So it had a couple of very good, successful years, like until recession hit. And then she was always going to Thailand to get a lot of vintage stuff, bring that back. It's like a cash and carry, but you get to go to Thailand. It was wonderful. And then she saw there was a market for men's stuff as well. So we used to go over to Thailand, hand pick vintage, bring it back, sell it on ASOS Marketplace, which was Depop and Vinted before Depop and Vinted existed. And we started getting some denim jackets, and there were these Thai elephant cushions with like embroidered elephants on. They were just so cool. And we're like, we should stitch them on the back of denim jackets. And we started doing that. And it went from a bit of a, not joke, but it went from something that seriously started to make some decent money and pay for my wages, essentially.
And you're what, 23?
I'm 24-ish at this point. Yeah, I was working in a bar after university. And I was enjoying it, but I knew that it weren't life. And then Natalie was just like, do you think we could come in together on this? And I was like, yeah, quit my job literally that same day. And she weren't ready for that, by the way. Like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, I quit. And then she employed me basically from her company. So it's a stressful year or so because it wasn't making enough money to pay my wages and getting a full member of staff on. And I didn't care. I was quite selfish at that point. So her stress is, I was just like, what's she stressed about? It's going to be fine.
Just pay me my salary.
Just
What are
pay my
you
salary
talking
and I'll go
about?
on my way. But we started on early Instagram and to build it up, and it started getting some influencers involved. And then we started to heat press some Holton X with like celestial moon prints on and stuff. And it was like reselling them. And then an influencer posted it. She was from Hawaii. And because we were making stuff ourselves, it was super cheap to make stuff. And then I was DMing people, every influencer I could find with swear words in the title. Because I'm like, you've got to fucking wear this. And then they'd open the email because it was just different. And then they'd say, yeah, I'd love what you're doing. And then we sent them some stuff. And then this girl called Jenna Yanamoto, she reposted our top and it just went boom. It went crazy. And it was like instant sales from this thing. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. Fast forward doing that for a year or so, a couple of years. My sisters opened a shop in Brixton in a container, and it was like a third business. It was like a Queen of the Harpers, it was called. So that was like them two doing that. Me and Natalie. So Natalie and Leanne were doing that one. Me and Natalie were doing this one, and Natalie also had this shop in Coventry. So she was becoming like this ultra-billionaire, but like spread herself so thin that it was just like, what are we doing? These three different businesses for, let's come together and merge them all into Alcy and Fred. And we did that. But in the meantime, in the shop, they'd designed some sequin shorts that very early in the festival fashion game, people were just like, I'm not wearing them, they're stupid. And then people would have a few drinks in the shop on a Friday night and go like, try these on. And we posted them online and they just went nuts. And then we'd, in the meantime, done Glastonbury in a stand and met Gypsy Shrine, who is now the owner of Refi, the makeup.
Yeah.
We really got on with her, and then she was going into the Love Island villa. She like emailed them saying, let me please do your glitter faces. Glitter boobs and glitter bum was a massive thing. Just
Glitter
like,
bum was a
glitter
massive
bum.
thing.
Yeah.
It was on the Daily Mail, like these glitter boobs and glitter bums. Everyone's like, oh my God, that's my famous bum. It was actually Sophie T.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, she was the one that gone famous for glitter boobs on the Daily Mail, and it was like, so their business boomed from there. And then she was going in the Love Island villa, and she was like, oh, can I have some of your shorts to wear? And we were like, yeah, of course. And all of the girls in the Love Island villa wore them. And then the day of that, I was out for my mate's graduation party, and I had Shopify on my phone. It just went ping, 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 with all the people that had been tagged in these shorts. And everyone was like, where do I get these shorts? And every single paper news outlet had posted it saying, this is where you get them. And that catapulted our business into something serious.
Wow.
So we had to go from Thailand, from getting them made, to straight to China after that, because they were just not making them quick enough. So then that was like, okay, we got an office in London and made our business certified and legitimate, I guess.
Yeah. When you say like it's doing majorly well in 2018, 2019, how much money is the business bringing in?
So that was our first proper year. That was like, I think 2017 was like 600 grand, and then 2018 was about 800, and then 2019, which was our £1 million year, that was the one that was
Huge.
It was decent, yeah, but we weren't making any profit. We just didn't know how to run a profitable business. So it was just loads of turnover, but we had an office. We got 2 offices. We had about 13 staff.
It's quite a lot.
It was, and we were in Topshop, Oxford Circus. We were on ASOS Spice Point. We were in Urban Outfitters online. And we were just hemorrhaging money from stupid stuff, just ordering loads of stuff because it was just selling. And we're like, yeah, we're in the noise now. This is it.
So you started making videos for social, and they sort of immediately started resonating with people. So what kind of made you start doing that? And again, like through your work with Elsie and Fred, you kind of social really well. But what kind of drove you to think, well, that's where I want to not be passive and do something?
I think it was always going to be one or two things. Elsie and Fred, that sort of helped me. It was an outlet for creative flow, so I didn't need to do anything outside of that. Posting on socials, I mean. But after that, I was like, oh, I've got nothing. I've got nowhere to post this. And it was like, I love photography, I love videography, I love creating everything. So I was just like, I'll create some videos and say some words. I've always written words down in my notes and stuff, and thoughts that I have of that day, journaling, if you will. And I just posted some on Instagram, and they did quite well. I lie, that's a jump. I started this thing called Time to Find Purpose, and that was the depths of my sort of out the back of my depression, if you will. I was like, I've got to do something about this for myself. So I was like, how about I have serious conversations, make them a bit jokey, and have a conversation and do something at the same time that is out of my comfort zone, say. Play golf.
Sing
Awful.
opera.
And I was in Coventry and all my mates love golf. And I was like, I've either got to start playing golf with them if I want to see them, or, again, shut up. So my mate had lost his dad many years ago. So I was like, Branch, do you want to play golf? And then we'll talk about like parental grief afterwards. And he was like, yeah, sure, sorry. He was like, yeah, sure. So we did that.
Love it. Look. Love it.
And we did that, and it went down really well. And so I started thinking about all the things that I could do off the back of that. I was like, I'll do something out of my comfort zone every couple of months and have a serious conversation afterwards. So I started doing that, and they went well. But in the meantime, I'd written some words down that I posted on Instagram, and it popped off, went seriously viral. Had like 10 million, got 10 million views now. And that then fed into all the different videos that I'd already posted. So it's like I'd done the roots work, and then that it was a frivolous, silly video, in my opinion. It's not even that funny.
You often call that video silly and frivolous, and we'll play it and people can make their own minds up. But I don't think it's silly or frivolous at all. I think it's such a brilliant little parody, like satire. It's poking fun at wellness culture, which in many ways, in various corners, has kind of prolapsed in itself in absurd ways.
Oh yeah. Just wanted to confirm that everyone else was doing like no screen time before bed, sleeping in a cold room with no coffee before 11 a.m, warm water with lemon as soon as you open your eyes, but no phone for the first 2 hours, sunlight in your third eye, first thing, red light therapy for half an hour, 10,000 steps a day, an ultramarathon with no social media, 12 eggs, raw goat's milk with 3 avocados, 2 raw steaks on a full plant-based diet, dip down in magnesium spray with ashwagandha, zinc, vitamin B12, sauna, gym, cold therapy, but only before the gym because it'll affect the gains, electrolytes, hit your protein goals, 2 litres of water, but please God, not tap water, no gel and gum, sucralose, sugar sweeteners, no porn, meditation for half an hour a day, also whilst completing a high rocks and microdosing whilst replying to 34 WhatsApp, 6 of which are 3-minute long voice notes, checking in with your friends and family, maintaining a relationship, writing in your gratitude journal whilst going to therapy, and not to mention a job and kids. Just checking everyone else is doing that.
I think you spoke some truth that really resonated with people in like a really funny, equally absurd way. And actually, I think that was the first time I saw some of your stuff and just thought, very, very few people have the ability just to pick up the camera and say words, and for those words to like say so much about where the world is at. So it just, I don't know, maybe in what way is it silly and frivolous to you?
Just I can be a bit of an arse. I've got a lot to say for myself, and sometimes that doesn't land very well. And some like friends and family are just like, you've got too much to say for yourself, and that is part of that. And it wasn't the serious work that I've been working on. I suppose that is the metric of it being silly for me. But that it filtered down into they really looked at the videos that I had been making that I did really care about. So I compare that one to be silly compared to them. And then I think people came for that and then stayed for some of the serious things that I was saying, which I'm really proud of.
Hello, I'm Ryan Lloyd Haynes, and this is Time to Find Purpose, where we try and get men to open up and talk about what's going on in their heads. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 in the United Kingdom. Why? We know why. It's because men do not talk. I used to be a lot more insecure than I am about this, about my blackness. Or lack thereof. Okay. That's one I was in battle with, but I'd hope I tackled most of that, and I'm quite secure in that now. That'd be one of my big ones.
It's interesting, the lack thereof side of that.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but what I mean is the lack thereof of how I thought about my blackness. Because if I hadn't done them videos before that, I don't think they would have liked it and then not followed me from it, I suppose.
So just getting into that a little bit, because I'm curious about this, right? Like, and I think at various points in these interviews we'll sort of oscillate between, you know, just the ideal of what it means to be a creator on social and actually sometimes the strategy. And so I think this is interesting, right? Because this sort of monologue you did that did really well, that brought a lot of people in that, you know, who stayed for the stuff you care about more. Do you think moving forward with your content that like you think about your types of content and what might do well to bring people in order to kind of land the kind of work you want to do? Or does that kind of strategic and therefore like a bit sickly, icky thought kind of not cross your mind?
I can't make content for the sake of getting followers from it. I can't do that. So if I stay on the number I'm on, but I still do what I love and make the content I love, then I will do that. I wouldn't be adverse to making. I'm super open to making comedic videos for sure, as long as it aligns. As long as I'm not making it to get likes. If I make a comedic video because I feel that way inclined on that day, my moods can change quickly. Yeah. So I'm like, I literally don't believe that thing I thought an hour ago. Yeah. So as long as the baseline stays relatively stable. I'm not adverse to making more videos like that, but I don't want to do that because I need to follow up on it and capitalize on having likes, because that's settled down now, so that wouldn't happen anyway. So yeah, I do hear that, and I do need people to say, shut the fuck up. I do need people.
I must say, one of your most enjoyable videos for me and for all my family actually was you projectile vomiting into a bucket after taking a Cambo. Just the joy that brought to my household, I can't even tell you, it was just brilliant.
So is it safe to say that the themes you're exploring now are vulnerability, masculinity, what else?
I think those two. I would throw in comedic and mental health in there too, if that doesn't go with vulnerability and masculinity, because I'm well aware that some of my content, some of the people I probably want to speak to would completely be turned off straight away if I mention the word vulnerability. But if I mention the word masculinity, they might be more inclined to dip in.
So this is primarily for a male audience?
Yes. Yeah. Men are lazy and...
Amen. Not pointing at you.
Amen. Amen. Grammatically.
Like emotionally lazy, I think. We have partners and our partners do everything for us and they plan and do dates and blah, blah. And I think men have took quite a bash since 2020, like white men especially. You guys had to learn about race in 2020 and then you got bashed for that, and then you're getting bashed quite a lot at the moment. Not just you. But there's some truth in a lot of the stuff that's happening. But then a lot of people are just completely like, not all men. I'm not listening to anything you're saying, so I'm going to go and listen to Andrew Tate, who seems to have my back. And there's some people in the middle ground that aren't yet red pill swallowing incels, and I don't like to push them in the box, but there's some people on the fence that are just like, I'm not being heard and I'm a normal person with normal morals. And I think I'd love to just take some of them and just say, I hear you, come have a conversation and we can make you feel heard, as opposed to just saying incel, he watches too much Joe Rogan, so he's done. The place we've got to this one thing or the other it's got way too far, in my opinion. Like this left wing, right wing, veganism versus carnivore. There's no conversation in the middle where we say, I believe that, but I also believe that. Does that mean I have a place in society? It's no.
Yeah.
You listen to Andrew Tate, or you sponsor the prescribe to Sanders and Corbyn, and that's it. There's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Hello, Mira. I would like to dedicate mine to Hanora Health. A friend of mine started a kombucha brand many years ago and cares about it so very much. And he's just a beautiful, beautiful man. So I would like to dedicate mine to Kombucha Health. Sparkling and refreshing.
Can you explain a little bit more, like, what this manosphere, red pill content, kind of Joe Rogan-y bro audience is? Because it doesn't come up on my For You page. And
I'd ask Mira what was a red pill yesterday.
we had the conversation, which is good, I think, in some ways. But for people
Now John's in.
I know. It's like, how do I find that? But it's a big problem for young men. I think that, you know, it comes across their For You page very quickly because you input your age, your gender, and, you know, some details about you when you sign up to a social media platform. And it kind of churns out this For You page according to an algorithm that it thinks you might like, and it presents them with red pill content quite quickly. And I'm curious if you can explain a little bit about what that looks like. What's the content? Why is it maybe a problem?
It's a problem because young boys, I don't think they know how to regulate their emotions. We speak about social media so all the time, but what I saw with Alcy and Freddie was that I wasn't social media so much, but you could escape ads, you could escape targeted ads, and I spent so long in Facebook, like a Meta, targeting people to try and buy Alcy and Fred, and I see how dangerous it was then, just how concentrated you can make an ad for somebody. That was 7 years ago. So now I can't even begin to imagine how targeted. We talk about algorithms all the time, but like I said, you could escape ads before. Now you cannot escape, and you're constantly being told you need things. You're constantly being told electric toothbrush, or there's so many different things that you're targeted with, and no one's been told how to regulate their emotions. Me as a 37-year-old man is addicted to opening Instagram and TikTok. I can't imagine what it does to a 14-year-old brain. I cannot imagine. And then you're asking them to go to school and then try have a conversation. And there's a thing, they took away phones in schools, didn't they? And then they were just like, I wish I could have this, but I can't have this all the time. We know what we need for society, but I don't know whether it's capitalism or the way we're working now. It just feels like we're sleepwalking, and everyone knows we need to be off our phones, but we can't help it. And the amount of money that they're making for these target ads and algorithms and ads, then we're not going to be able to escape that. And that's why I think it's so super dangerous. I went into a school, like a sixth form college, to talk to young boys about masculinity and what it is to be a man. And there was another youth worker with us. And they were so detached from just the present moment that I was like, it's not going to be like it is. Like people say, the kids are blah, blah. They were gone.
Yeah.
And it only took, but at the end of the hour, we got some small things out of 2 or 3 of them. But I'm an advocate for nature and touching grass and getting outside and being present. And I have to clock myself, me and my girlfriend have quite a few chats about being present and not being on our phones because we work quite a lot. But we all know what we need. We need to get our shoes off, get on the grass and have chats and human connection.
Yeah.
But we can't seem to cut that cord.
Because our lives are so built around staying inside, sitting in your chair, going to work 9 to 5. Like, there's not time. You're so tired by the evening that you stay inside. Like, there are days I don't leave the house for maybe 3 days, and that's crazy to me. But I do think that you're completely right. We know exactly what we need, and yet our lives and the society in which we live has been structured to just make us productive and useful.
I mean, I think, you know, there is clearly just at a top level systematic sort of way in which we have crafted our society that means, as you just said, we live to work, we are nothing but a productivity metric, however we want to sort of say that. But I think within this, you know, we really cannot like underestimate or just gloss over like what this new sort of thing. I mean, the mental health rates from 2013 when the iPhone came out, you know, especially in young people and young women especially, are just have done horrendous things. I mean, again, there's one thing if you think about the broader system, it's another thing if you think about this specific piece of technology, and then it's another thing if you think about the kind of medium within it being social media. And it was Bo Burnham, and we'll perhaps play it, but Bo Burnham it was a couple of years ago now. He's a comedian, like a kind of OG YouTuber, I guess, but he's this genius like performer, and he was on a panel, I think, at a tech show or a tech conference, and he called out for exactly what it is.
What is a phone? What the definition of a phone changes every single day. Like, when's the right age to get a phone? I don't know, because by the time your kid gets to that age, a phone is a completely different thing spiritually. Like I'm saying, these things are like interacting with our souls on a deep level, and that's the problem with the internet, and that's the challenge. Obviously, you guys have with young kids is that, but it's like, yeah, good luck, like having them like. When my kid's 9, he's not going to have an iPhone. Yeah, of course not, because it's going to be plugged into his head or whatever at that point, you know. No, but truly, so like that's the really hard thing is that, and even with formulating opinions or making art about the internet, by the time you take the time, this is the problem about the internet in general, by the time you take the time that is needed to think about something to articulate it, it is obsolete.
It's like we, through the system and now with the product and the algorithm, it is about every ounce of attention, like the currency, the commodity is attention. And all of these, and it's almost sort of trite and cliche to say now, like we all know this and we are increasingly seeing the pitfalls of it. And you know, there's two ways in which you can sit and feel about this at this point in time, which is either total despair or like constructively what can I do about it. And again, like what I admire about you, Ryan, is that you are just not going to be passive. And so I'm interested, like, given the very thing that is almost your tool to do what you can against and for this is also the thing that's the problem. I guess the question is where do you think the role as a social media creator, as your tool, your communication tool of social, like what can that do to really amplify the physical in real life connection? Because Mira said, like, the easiest thing is just to switch off, get out more. But like, where's the magic where these two things meet?
We use social media as a tool to meet in person. We need to get offline, and with the boom of wellness clubs and run clubs, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But even those have been commodified and super shoesized and put so many people off, because that's what we do in these. Social media has made everything boom so quickly, and it fizzles out quicker than that, because we're just like, that's the coolest thing in the world now. Like, fashion trends last, 4 weeks now before they become oversaturated, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So somebody said to me the other day, do you think social, like, in-person meetings and community days will become oversaturated because they're just everywhere now, which is a ridiculous but very possible notion that everyone will just be exhausted with Thursday meetups, you know what I mean? So I think if we slow everything down and get used to, I think we need to change our culture first off and foremost. Is that first and foremost? First and foremost.
It's whatever you want.
First off and foremost.
Just keep talking. I
can tell you weren't listening. You're just looking at it like, wow.
Honestly, he just looks so good.
In-person connection. This London is lonely at the best of times, and so if people can, and I think that will stem anxiety. And I spoke to somebody the other day, and I'd read something before that it was a doctor, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about the younger generation, Gen Z, are scared to post anything online because they're scared of cringe culture. They don't want to be seen as cringe for trying.
Yeah.
that's a ridiculous notion to me, but I get it. Like when you're that, everything you do is now recorded on phones in spaces. Like you can't dance on a dance floor without being recorded.
Constantly.
Yeah, if somebody's taking drugs, they know they're going to be filmed, put online. Like Ibiza Final Boss. If he didn't take that well, this could have been disastrous.
Yeah.
But luckily, he was quite relatively well received. Right?
Milkshake duck.
Milkshake duck. What's that?
I have no idea what
You not heard of the milkshake duck phenomena?
No.
So don't ask me where the name came from, but it's this journey that happens basically where someone is made famous by the internet and then they are taken down by the internet. So it's
another
this,
one, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So it's this seems like this inevitable, like, wow, this person, and it's often like an absurd journey to the top, and then very often an immediate like pull down to earth.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ibiza Boss. I mean, we're at milkshake stage now,
and now you see
doctor as well or something.
Is he actually?
That's what's going on. He's a debt collector.
It's funny.
Knocking on your door. Sorry, you can't get anything off me with that haircut.
Do you know part of this kind of constantly being online that I've noticed that I think is especially dangerous for young people is on TikTok, for example, is kind of the main platform I use, social media. And I see these videos that are like, girls, we're no longer doing like short whatever coats, we're doing trench coats beige for work. And I'm like, and then it's got millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes, and everyone in the comments are like, yes, girls. And it's fun because it's kind of like a community thing. Like we're all like, yeah, let's like coordinate our outfits. And there's something very like girlhood and I don't know, it's just something we do. We're like, let's match outfits. It's fun. And then at the same time, I'm noticing a version of that everywhere on the internet. And it's like, we are not having an individual, unique thought to ourselves. Like everything is, what are you doing? And is it okay? And is this cringe? And like, I'll copy that. And what are we wearing? And oh, the trench coats are out. Then I'll buy something else. Like it's constantly, what is everyone else doing? And I want to fit in with that. I find it tragic. I find it terrifying because we are, like we've just been talking about the system and how we're all, we're kind of made to all be the same. So we're all productive and measured in units of productivity and whatever. We are almost doing it to ourselves now. It's like, how can we be as like samey as possible? And it's terrifying.
Yeah, I think of like the sort of one of the like hooky tropes is basically telling you what you don't like in order to then tell you what you do like.
Yeah.
So this is why you don't like skinny jeans or something. You're like, you're telling me, okay.
No, it's because it cuts the blood supply off to my calves.
Yeah.
Tom loves a good pair of skinny jeans, let me tell you. He wears them well as us.
I see a lot of, if you want to be here's how to be a cool girl. And I'm like, maybe being a cool girl is like just doing what you want to do and having confidence in that.
But that takes so many balls, doesn't it? That takes somebody with a serious bit of self-esteem and confidence to say.
Can I just say one of your videos as well? I can't remember what it was called or whatever, but it was the one where I messaged you. I was like, holy shit, that gave me like Alan Watts vibes. But it was at the end of the video, you were just like, maybe we should let people off the train first.
Yeah, maybe I say too much. But sometimes if I don't, I feel like I'm going to burst. I might be getting ahead of myself, that's true. Maybe we just focus on letting people off the train first. Something like that. Something like that.
And I was like, that's the message. That's what it's about. Not being selfless and just thinking of others and not at your own detriment, but like that's what it's about. Like when you do that, that's how you establish connection. And
you can't do that without being the person that. So that's such a hard one because I'm like, every time you go to get off the tubes, there's already people battling to get on first. So like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just wait. The train is parked there for at least, a minute? You've got plenty of time. But like I said, off the back of COVID, I think people have got a lot more self-absorbed and a lot selfish. And I think we all just need to slow down and just think. My girlfriend does this really well, goes into cafes and says, how are you? Before being asked what it is. Because we go in and say, long black, please. So that's a person behind the desk. Yeah. How are you today? And they're like, really good, thank you.
It's amazing to see an instance like that, which is actually, common sense. It shouldn't be so outstanding.
Yeah.
But because it's so unexpected today, it does stand out. So, I think this like the sort of the systems all being designed for division are also an opportunity to really stand out and kind of bridge in interesting ways. And again, Charlie Cragg is like this like claps back, and yet is famous for her nail transphobia campaign, where she offered a pop-up nail salon where the technician is trans and the person having their nails done is not, and they can meet someone for the first time and have a conversation with someone they wouldn't have known otherwise, and learn more about the community and the issues. And that's bridging.
Yeah. That's great.
Do you want to try and like do that with your platform? Because I appreciate you have an audience that might consume this ultra masculine red pill content, and yet you are pretty much the opposite of that. So I wonder if you ever think about how much of a platform you want to give to people with very different views to you, and then try and show that audience that there are other perspectives. You know, you can change your mind. There are things you can agree on, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm aware. There's a line, I think, how much of an audience to give to someone whose opinion is so far removed from yours that it becomes inflammatory. Is it,
or dangerous to put them in front of an audience,
Have you seen the interview with Mehdi and the 12 right-wing conservatives?
Yeah, I have.
That's one of the ones you're like, oh, is this good? Or is it just getting points from each other in their own communities? Did anyone listen in those conversations? I don't know. So maybe my part is in the middle ground as opposed to the...
So what's the fear? Sorry, that actually in bridging, you're also platforming who you don't want to platform. Yeah.
It's a hard one. But also, like, I'm well aware that my physical appearance is very different to some of the messaging I have. So I think I've got a responsibility to leverage some of that. I'm tall, I'm big, I'm good at sports. So like talking about femininity might land with somebody who was just like, oh, I wouldn't expect him to be standing up for trans people. Do you know what I mean? So I think I've got a responsibility. I think straight cis men have got a responsibility to stand up for trans women and trans people and gay people in its entirety anyway. So if I can leverage that, then... But then again, that's going to isolate some people who are just like, no, that's one step too far. I don't know.
I love that like insight though, and that thinking of where within your voice is the interesting tension. You know, the fact that you're like a big bloke and you're a vegan, right? Like I think that
I'm only veg.
Yeah. Again, and if we try and think about the medium as it is and the need to actually kind of find a hook and get, you know, the reality is you need to find a way to sort of grab someone's attention in order to then deliver the message you want. And so those tensions, those sort of interesting, those unexpected qualities you have, right? Interesting that you acknowledge them to leverage them, you know, and to think like this is a unique point I have. It's interesting.
Do you have an idea of, you're growing quite quickly. I don't know if that's plateaued or if it's continuing at the moment.
I think he stopped when he was 21.
I knew that was coming.
I mean, did it? Was I?
About 19, I think.
Thank you.
Anyone is excited.
Keep that in.
If it wasn't such a sausage fest, we might have a good conversation.
Oh, God.
Do you, on social media, your following has been growing very rapidly.
Oh.
I'm curious if you have, having reflected on all of the things we've reflected on today, have an idea of where it's going and like what you want to do. And I know you're not making your full-time income off it right now. So is that part of what you want to do? How are you finding it? Where is this going?
It's what I want to do. I'm also not naive to the fact that social media is probably not as lucrative as it was a couple of years ago and will be. So the backup plan, not a backup plan, but I do videography and photography outside of that anyway. And I think the long game is if you've got enough of a message and you are authentic to yourself, then stay in it long enough to tell my story authentically, to be able to monetize it and either get some brand deals for telling that story.
Yeah.
But like we said earlier, I can't
compromise
do
the
things,
message.
yeah, for the sake of it. If it doesn't, then I'm fine with that and carry on. But the faith that I have in it is that it will.
Yeah.
Love it, man. You've so much integrity.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Magic 8 ball or whatever it is. Or is it 7 ball? I don't know.
8.
Where do you think you might be in the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you, dream wise?
I don't know how it looks at the moment, but if I can bring together Run Club, a physical space, not therapy, but some kind of vulnerability hub without it being too emotionally heavy, and we can still have a laugh. That's what I want. What that looks like, I don't know. But I love fitness. I love talking through brains, but sometimes I don't want to talk about any of that stuff as well. So if it could be a hub of people just hanging out and being together, then that would be the dream. I'd also love to be an actor. I'd love to be in Les Miserables.
You can sing? Oh, you did your opera video, so you can sing.
You did a 90-second video. You're
Yeah.
Pavarotti, basically.
I haven't seen this. Where is this?
On his social media.
Oh, let's watch this. Lo, 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 lo. So, is that opera? I don't know.